Hello, everybody. All right. So, of course, we're going to give people a chance to come in here. Chance to come in. So, we'll give it a few minutes before we get started here. Hope everybody's having a good week as we're coming down to the end of the week, of course, today being Thursday, November 30th, 2023. So, not only are we, of course, finishing up November here, but we're also almost to the end of the year here. One more month. Um, Oh, I hope everybody's having as I say, having a good week. And as I said, we'll give it a few minutes, give people a chance to come in before talk about what's on tap for tonight. All right, so overtures, cut lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing our parts. Know every part by heart. On with the show. This is it. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots rage their battles to destroy the evil force of the Decepticons. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra and Death, trying to save the day. He never gives up, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. Do, do. G.I. Joe, real American hero. G.I. Joe is there. Right, we have three people in here now, so that's good. I guess I will kind of get started a little bit and talk a little bit about what's on tap for tonight, of course. As always, guys, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, of course, and seeing if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, on tonight's edition of the Mikestand, of course, we're going to go over a couple articles from not Bounding, I'm sorry, Bleeding Fool. Of course, the weekly look at independent comics coming out in the Indie Comic Showcase. Also, they have a little profile piece on the creator of Indie Comic Showcase. So, a couple of articles there, then the wrestling wrap up, and then of course, this day in each history. And that's pretty much what we have for you tonight. As we have some people in here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started then, rather than wait till 5 minutes in. So here we go. Let's get going here. Get right to our first. Oops, I overshot there. All right, so here we are. Here, let's see. Just checking to see if anybody's commenting yet, and I guess not. Um, as I said, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. All right. Anyways. Okay. All right. So let's get into this then. Indie Comic Showcase number 250. Um, Shark of War Devoured, Cancel House, and Star Cross Team Up. Article by Chris Braley, published November 29th, 2023. And yes, I believe that is how you pronounce that word, house. I believe it's more the Germanic spelling of the word HAUS as opposed to the English version of the word HOUSE. So, Anyways, let's get into this. Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, a weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle. And of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. On Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. All right, so Starcross Team Up number 1, Starstruck and Trashman by Joe Spicer. All right, so let's see now. All right. Nothing yet, of course. Okay. All right, so before, let's see, let me see if there's a link to the thing there. Yep. All right. Just grab the link to this. And this, of course, is being done from My Comic. I will go ahead and put that link in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What was that again? Sorry. All right, so now that we got all right, let's see. And I'm just right now just putting in the link for this campaign. If you guys want to check that out. And I'll get into just so you guys. All right, so there you go there. So here's the link to the first first comic we'll be looking at here. Now, if you guys want to go check that out, there's the link to it on Fund My Comic. So let's now get into the article here. So by Joe Spicer here. Chris Braley. Welcome back to Indie Comic Showcase, Joe. Tell me the pitch for your latest comic. Joe Spicer. Two Nephilim heroes combine their might to thwart a devious mastermind's plot to awaken an ancient evil buried deep in the earth. In this epic crossover event starring Starstruck and Trashman. Interesting names for some heroes, huh? Chris, what led to your decision to do a crossover with these characters? Joe, I have been friends with Luke Stone for a long while. Okay, I think he missed again. Some editing needs to be done here. While I think in this case is While, not Wile. Totally different meaning to the word when spelled that way. But anyways, and we have similar characters in Starstruck and Trashman. both being Nephilim heroes, and I love team ups. So Luke wrote a story, and I did the art. I took a long time to finish since we both had to squeeze it in between projects. I guess those must be the characters right there. Chris, what type of comic reader is it aimed at? Let's see. Joe, fans of both hybrids and God with biblical proportions. Um, People fascinated with Nephilim lore and basic slugfest action, muscles, blood, and knuckles. So it sounds like a real manly type comic, right? If you're into stories about evil villains and humorous dialogue, this is for you. We also have some reprints of issue number 1 of Hybrids and God with virgin chrome connected covers so people have know both characters. Okay. Again, some more kind of typo or grammar issues there. Hmm. Chris, tell us about your style and creative process and how you develop them. Um, Joe, for this book, I wanted to channel Luke's style as well as my own to give honor to our trash man is portrayed and to give honor to how trash man is portrayed in hybrids. Much of the book takes place in caves, so we had to keep that interesting both in angles and lighting. I ink in Clip Studio Paint, and colors were provided by Edgar Tavidas. After Luke and I expressed the desire to team up our characters, Luke wrote up a script based on our conversations on plot. Brian Dawson sketched out some layouts for the pages, and I drew and inked to finish. I started coloring some pages, but didn't have time to finish, so Edgar Travitas completed coloring with a double page spread colored by Federico Pepito Siok. Letters were completed by Paul Bird, cover by Brian Dawson, and colors by Federico Pepito Siok. Logo design by Vince White. I'm saying that 3 times fast. Ah, see if anybody's saying anything yet. Nope, it's not. Let's see now. Let's see, Chris. What's your process for comic creating? Joe, my favorite part is the initial creator of the story and characters because anything is possible at that time, and your creative mind is just racing. Then you rein it in and set up rules for the story and beginning, climax, and end. Um, Once I get in the zone, I can draw all day, but I do, and a wife and son that need me. So I think he meant to say I do have a wife and son need. So it's not easy to have all the time I want. Okay, again, some grammatical errors. I don't know if this is just the way they edited it or what have you, but anyways, I've been publishing for around 25 years, so production is pretty routine. Again, a spelling error there. Routine. At this point, it all comes down to time and money. Crowdfunding is hard. Back in my day, you pay upfront, not upfront, and sell directly now. Now you make the funding site, and that can be as much work as the comic itself. Make a video and then hustle with social media and email asking for backing. It's a different animal and one that doesn't come natural to most creators. All right. See if anybody. All right. Continuing on, as I said, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. Chris, are there more team ups in your future? Joe, I would like to do more team ups as they come, and I already have people in mind to make some stories with. Chris, thanks, Joe, and good luck. Any final comments? Joe replies, yes, for more of our projects, go to starcrosscomics.com and lukestonestudios.com and watch for Biblical Proportions #2 in December. All right, so there we go with that one. The next book that's featured on this week's Indie Comic Showcase, The Cancel House, and I believe that is how it's pronounced. I believe that's more the Germanic spelling as opposed to the English spelling of Housc. By Hirogi. All right, so let me just go ahead and grab the. And this one's from Indiegogo. Here's the link to the Cancel House if you guys want to check that out. There's the link to the Cancel House if you guys want to check that out. Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Hirogi. What's the pitch for the Cancel House? Hirogi, The Cancel House is a 360-page full-color graphic novel split into 15 issues. It is a darkly okay, again, editing error here. They forgot the O and I believe comic there. Comic thriller with a peculiarly English sense of humor. A British Twin Peaks or in smaller quotes there, or White Nail and I meets The Godfather. Bandes Desineus feel and appearance. A unique creative language style is used throughout. A book for critical thinkers, lovers of free speech, and a breath of fresh air in the age of political correctness and cancel culture. Yet he's titled the book "The Cancel House." I wonder what it's about. Uh, let's see. So, Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from, and made you decide to self-publish it? Unquote. Hirogi, the idea came from a chat in a pub. I was asked, pub Pub is, I believe, the British word for bar. For those who may not know, um, I was asked to think of a humorous torture method. In an instant, I thought of sewing a human head between the shoulder blades um, of the naked victim and super gluing the victim's upper arms to his torso. Okay, so he couldn't reach to attempt to remove the head. All right, I'm not getting it, but he also had two severed hands sewn to his kneecaps. Oh boy, this guy's pretty gruesome, isn't he? So he um couldn't pull on some trousers to go for help. Oh man, the story snowballed from there. Um, where would one get hold of a head and a pair of hands, etc.? From there, the tale wrote itself. For full control over my art and ideas, I decided to self-publish it. Hmm. Dude's got quite a gruesome imagination, doesn't he? Uh, this question is going to be very interesting, to say the least. So, Chris asks, "Who is your target audience for this book?" Hirogi answered, "Those who like darkly humorous and quirky thrillers, mature readers who are active seekers of truth, critical thinkers, pub enthusiasts, readers who are into indie music scene, men and women, okay, women, okay, who like a challenge in their read, okay, woman, all right, that's interesting. Let's see. Those who like wordplay and a creative use of language. Those who like a more European style of artwork with a subtle color palette. All right. Very, very grayish palette there, to say the least. All right. So, anyways, of course, shall continue on here. As I said, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything here catches your attention. Um, and if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That would be appreciated as well. Um, so with that, let's get back to the article here. Chris, how did you develop your unique style? Uh, did you did you do this all yourself? Hirogi, I have previously published children's books and a graphic novel, Black Charity, under different names, and have lectured for a sequential art degree for 12 years. I'm guessing this guy's from Britain, I'm guessing. Um, I also briefly worked in animation in LA in the 90s, managing 26 people. I am the sole creative team. I took a leaf out of Gary Spencer Millage's Strange Haven, and the European process of photo referenced all the scenes and characters. I created the characters, wrote the story, used traditional pencils, pen, and inks on paper, then used Photoshop to color the pages. I hand lettered the whole thing, as I dislike the use of generic fonts in comic book work. I then designed the 15 separate issues, and I am now self publishing it. Self publishing it. All right. Okay, Chris, how far along is the book? Hirogi, the whole book is totally complete, and all 15 comics are print ready, including the additional 8 bonus pages of content in each printed issue. It took 14 years on and off to create one page. Took about a week in total. Wow, he's kind of been working on this for a while, hasn't he? 14 years. Hey, Rick. Hi, all. Hey, Rick. If you can like and share the screen, see if we can get some more friendly people here in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, getting back to the article here, um, Chris, what have you been learning from self-publishing through and crowdfunding through the process? Hirogi, that it is hard work. I am working on the wing and a prayer approach, as as that was a song back in the 80s by John Bon Jovi. I have had to learn InDesign to get it print ready and iMovie to create publicity videos. I have learned not to rely on anybody who you are not paying, and as I can't pay anyone, I can't rely on anyone else except my wonderful wife. I am old school and don't have a good grasp of social media for promoting it. So I am learning how to use that too. Although not with any great effect as of yet. Chris, what are your plans beyond this book? Hirogi, I am working on 3 abstract cartoon full color comics. I am naturally a funny cartoonist, but the Cancel House warranted a realistic drawing approach. The cartoon comics will read and look like no other comic books ever made. On top of that, I am working on a cartoon humorous conspiracy thriller using 2 sets of characters, blending 2 story arcs together. Again, this is an abstract comic book story. I also have film script ideas for the future. All right, let's see now. All right, so Chris, any special features in this book you'd like to mention? Hirogi, the printed copies include specially created Spotify playlist, book, comic, and film recommendations from the 1920s to the present day. There is an option to buy the comics wax sealed and signed. See, Chris, any final comments to our readers before we sign off? Hirogi, the idea of understanding a comic book does not appeal. Um, Rational understanding is not an essential element in the reception of any work of art. Either a work has something to say to you or it hasn't. If you are moved by it, you don't need it explained to you. If not, no explanation can make you moved by it. Thanks and good luck, Hirogi. Quite the philosophy. The guy's kind of wearing a bunch of different hats, isn't he? Say the least. That's where are we at on time and everything here? Let's see. 30 minutes, 43 seconds. And if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So, Shark of War devoured by Ben Lacey. Now, look at that. Nice looking girl there. Let's see, and this is a Kickstarter campaign. All right, so. Right, so here is the third. Here's a third one that we're doing. There's a link to the site if you guys want to go check that out. All right, so anyways, let's get into this one. Shark of War devoured by Ben Lacey. I think we've seen this guy on here before too. All right, so Chris Braley. Welcome back to ICS, Ben. What's the pitch for those unfamiliar with Shark of War? Ben Lacey, Shark of War is Jaws meets RoboCop. It's Jaws if the shark were the hero. It's RoboCop if the shark were a cop. So a heroic cop shark going, okay. After a massive bioengineered shark escapes a secret military lab, he makes himself the law of the sea. Able to fly, bulletproof, and armed with guns and teeth, he cuts a swath through the bad guys. But the mob and the evil scientists who created him have a plan to stop him. Make ever more dangerous creatures. And now they have made the one thing even a superpowered shark fears. Killer whales, who have been modified just like he has. So meet the Jaws RoboCop shark meets the I guess the metal killer whales. All right, so Chris, take us back to where the idea for this comic came from. Ben, when the first Meg movie came out, I saw how popular it was. But basically, it was the same as every shark movie since Jaws. Monster shark kills people and has to be stopped. I thought, what it. Okay, I think he meant to say, what if I reverse that, as opposed to it, I reverse that. But Hero Shark has to stop the bad guys in the snarkiest way possible. I consider myself a sci-fi genre writer who's trying to put an exciting spin on the genre. As an engineer in my day job, I'm meticulous about my plotting, and I put a lot of real science behind the over-the-top sci-fi. So, unlike some of the stuff we read from the past, we actually have somebody who has actually some real legitimate understanding of science and does actually try to appropriately apply it in the stories he writes. Pretty interesting. Who is the ideal reader for this? Chris asks. Ben, in response, it has a lot of shark eating bad guys imagery, but it'd probably be fine for older kids on up. Any shark lover, sci-fi fan, or anyone wanting a different sort of hero will love this. Talk about your creative. Chris asks. Talk about your creative team. Ben, um, Harshstroke, pencil and inks, is a self-taught comic book artist and amateur bodybuilder, inspired from the extreme nostalgia from the last decade of the 20th century. Shark of War #7 is his first book as an interior artist. Colorist Anton Polhovsky is from Ukraine. He graduated from Kryvyi State Pedagogical University with a bachelor's degree in fine arts. He's worked as a comic book colorist for 3 years, working on books such as The Cthulhu Men, Raising Cain, Stargazers, and Tandra Dragonrock. Nikki Powers has lettered numerous independent comics and written some. You can find her lettering in a variety of independent publishers, including Scout Comics and Plastic Sword Press, and anthologies such as Colossal Chaos, Speculative Relationships, and Cthulhu is hard to spell. So quite an eclectic group there, huh? Hey, JR. Hail, Zenu and Xena. Hi, Rick and Mike. Um, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. Then we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Well, with that, let's get ready to continue on here. 38 minutes into this. All right. So Chris asks, how do you approach writing these comments? What's your workflow? Ben, I always write a full script with a page by page, panel by panel description and dialogue. I then engage the art team to complete the first 8 pages along with all the covers. I then make an ash can that's free for everyone to try before the buy. Let's see. Chris, this isn't your first campaign. What are you learning about crowdfunding? Ben, you have to build an audience and continually engage them with your work. You can't just do a book and expect it to be a hit. Chris, are there more stories you hope to tell in the Shark of War universe? Ben, yes, the current arc of Shark of War has 2 more issues, and then there will be another arc after that. I plan on launching the Vicious Vixens of Daku Wanga #2. Oh yeah, that's what we were looking at. The Vicious Vixens. That's right. You wrote that one too, and I think we covered that. We covered that comic too, and Samson #1 early next year. Yeah, the Vicious Vixen ones looked pretty good too. Um, Chris, any special features for this campaign you'd like to mention? Ben, yes, I'd always wanted to do a cosplay cover, but how do you get a shark to cosplay? Yeah, that would be a very interesting scenario. Perhaps by obtaining the rights to use one of the best shark photos of all time for Shark of War #7. I've licensed photographer Chris Fallows' amazing 2018 photo of a shark breach off of Seal Island in False Bay, Africa. It looks like the shark is about to fly off just as the Shark of War would. There's a link on the Kickstarter that will let you read the first 2 issues of Shark of War for free, as well as the first 8 pages of issue 7. The best the best try before you buy deal out there. Chris, thanks, Ben. We're rooting for you. So that's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comic Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics, and reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support Indie Comics. All right, so that's all for that one. As I said, though, of course, we're gonna do actually two articles tonight. The other one hopefully will go kind of quickly because it's a profile article. So also in the vein of meet the creator behind Indie Comic Showcase. All right, so meet the creator behind Indie Comic Showcase by John Lemus, published yesterday. Galilea, Florida. Okay. All right, so for those who don't know me, I'm John Lemus, the host of Indie Comic Showcase on multiple social media platforms, and the guy who first brought the idea to Bleeding Fool a little over 5 years ago. All right. My family is from Cuba, so my first language is, of course, Spanish. I have always been into comic books. When I was little, I remember my mother used to read these small form factor comic books from Mexico. My friend Spike Valentine told me they used to be called Tijuana Bibles. My parents had a small business located on Palm Avenue in Hialeah, Florida. Um, while they worked, I was often left to my own devices and would get into everything, including my mom's mini collection. It's something she did not like, as some of them contained very adult content. Well, that's kind of what happens when you get a latchkey kid, right? Latchkey kids are often going to get into trouble if left unsupervised. That's just the nature of things. Kids are naturally curious. They naturally, want to know what's going on. Hmm. Let's see. Next to the store, there was the Hialeah newsstand. It used to sell a great many magazines, some for kids and some not. It's where I bought my first comics. I remember being drawn then to them immediately. The colors, characters, and action sequences blew my young mind. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. The guy's probably in his late 40s, I would guess. Um, late 40s, early 50s, probably, right around the time of the launching of Image Comics. It was an amazing time for anyone getting into comics. Some still say it was the best of times. With their help, and by watching cartoons, I was able to teach myself how to read and write in English. We talked about the movie "The Town Torn Apart," starring uh, Michael Tucker and Jill Eikenberry, where they would use comics as a way to help kids read in that movie. Um, at the time, I was one of the few students in my class who was fluent in both. In the mid 2000s, for multiple reasons, Rajendra Gupta, the owner of the Hialeah newsstand, closed the shop. I went a long time without being able to buy comics regularly. I was able to check some out at my local library, read some online, and buy a few at conventions. Around 2014 2015, John Ulloa and Juan Navarro, two of the founders of Creature Comics and Creature Entertainment, opened the first local comic book shop in East Hialeah. From them, I learned about independent publishing and comic books. I really got into it. This was around the same period as the second renaissance of social media. Uh, Twitter and Facebook were becoming popular places for independent publishers, writers, and artists to share their work. It also became a place for fans of comics to share their thoughts um, about the current state of comics. One of them was Richard Meyer, or as he was known on YouTube as Your Boy Zach. Richard um, would often post the works of many artists and writers, as well as their campaigns on crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I then went on to start Indie Comic Showcase as a place where anyone and everyone could go on and share their works. Since then, I've backed a few hundred independent comic books, mangas, and even books. Bleeding Fool offered me a place where I could share some of the campaigns I found I found on crowdfunding sites, and I did that for several years till my mother passed. That changed everything in my life. I felt like I was starting over and had to do so multiple times because things kept changing. Thankfully, Chris and my friends at Bleeding Fool have carried on and are doing an amazing job. I guess Chris took over for this guy, John Lemus. Recently, I've started working on my own projects again. I do hope to be able to dedicate more of my time and myself to sharing the works of different creators I come across. I'm working on starting a TikTok and DTube account shortly. Till then, please feel free to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and even OnlyFans. Also, please continue showing your support for indie creators. Check out their campaigns we show off every week. These creators are putting a lot of work and love into their projects, um, many times more so than the big two. The least we can do is showcase them. And of course, I'm helping out too by obviously doing the articles on here as well. So, oh, there we go with that one. All right, so there we go. All right, so that's all for the articles then. Well, we will get into the wrestling wrap up a little bit. I'm just trying to think, trying to remember. Actually, there was more AEW news than WWE news, really. I can't really think off the top of my head of the WWE news right now. But I do know that there was some stuff coming out from last night's Dynamite. Um, oh, I guess the one big piece of news is apparently there is Rick saying, "Hey RJ, JR." Um, so there is some big news in regards to some details have been leaked about CM Punk's contract since he signed with the WWE. There is some talk that he was that they may have put some kind of morals clause in his contract to keep him from basically try to keep from happening in the WWE what happened in AEW or even what happened years ago when CM Punk should have left. There's been some talk that there may be some financial penalties that are in place if he should kind of do that. As right now, it looks like CM Punk's been getting along with everybody thus far, but I guess time will only tell just how long that lasts. But anyways, um, now moving on to, of course, the AEW news, as it were. Um, so of course the three more matches in the gold league of the Continental Classic tournament they're holding night, including winning or beating Jay Lethal in their match, getting 3 more points to get up to 6, and I believe he leads the way 6. Rush defeating Mark Briscoe to finally get on the board after losing to Jay White last week, and in the third Continental Classic match, Swerve Strickland defeated Jay White to, I guess, become tied with John Moxley for first place with 6 points each. So in the gold league, you have Moxley and Swerve ahead with 6 points, followed by Rush and Jay White with 3, and then Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal are still with goose eggs on the board. In other matches that took place on last night's Dynamite, Wardlow defeated AR Fox by referee decision in just over 3 minutes, which I'm guessing Wardlow essentially power bombed AR Fox into oblivion, just kept power bombing him to the point he was just knocked out. In 6-man tag action, Action Andretti and Top Flight of the Martin brothers, of course returning Dante Martin, defeated the Hardy Boys and Isaiah Cassidy. Julia Hart in a House Rules match successfully defended the TBS title against Emi Sakura. So that's all that happened. Now, also some news is coming out that apparently Dr. Britt Baker is apparently a bit unhappy with AEW right now. Is basically not getting a lot of late. Of course, she's been off television. They haven't had anything for her of late, but also of course, she apparently hasn't had any live promo time. There was a time when she was one of the top people in AEW, but now they seem to be moving in another direction. We've been hearing a lot about that lately. With of course the upcoming departure of QT Marshall, among others. So anyway, so that's all I have for the wrestling wrap up tonight. So now we'll go today being Thursday. Tonight being Thursday, November 30th. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history. History! So, first off, I'm going to head back to 1995, which of course is 28 years ago today. On this date, back in 1995, the 20th issue of Max from Image Comics went on sale on newsstands on this date back in 1995. It sold for $1.95, was 32 pages. So the 20th issue of Max from Image Comics went on sale on this date 28 years ago and back in 1995. Hey, Woody. Yes, history. And of course, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, seeing if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, moving on then. Moving ahead to 1998. On this date in 1998, let's see, the WWF at the time, as it was known, had held its Monday Night Raw event from the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore. The night saw in the main event The Rock defeat Al Snow in 5 minutes. In a battle for the WWF European Championship at the time, Ken Shamrock defeated X-Pac via DQ. X-Pac was the defending champion there. In what some would probably consider an upset, Dwayne Gill defeated Mark Merrow in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. In a match for the WWF Hardcore Championship, Big Boss Man defeated Mankind in a ladder match. Goldust defeated Jeff Jarrett by DQ. And to open up the show in a, in a match for the WWF Tag Team Championship, the New Age Outlaws defeated the Brood of Edge and Gangrel by DQ to retain the title. So there we go with that. That happened 25 years ago. And 1998 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. And also, on this date back in 1998, actress and voice actress, known for her leading films in silent films, Ruth Clifford, passed away at the age of 98. Now, the reason we're talking about Ruth Clifford here is because she was somebody who provided at one point the voices of Minnie Mouse and Daisy Duck for Walt Disney, for the Walt Disney Company. As I was reading earlier, she was the 5th voice of Minnie Mouse and the 3rd voice of Daisy Duck. So on this date, 25 years ago today, Ruth Clifford, the former voice, one of the former voices of Minnie Mouse and Daisy Duck for the Walt Disney Company, passed away at the age of 98. So lived a pretty long life there, to say the least. And finally, we move ahead to 2018. On this day in 2018, let's see, the anime movie Mobile Suit Gundam Narrative premiered in movie theaters in Japan on this date 5 years ago today. So Sunrise's Mobile Suit Gundam Narrative premiered in Japanese theaters on this date 5 years ago in 2018. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow night with RJ Carter and Apex from Apex Comics. And we'll be starting our coverage of January 1940 in comics history. We'll be, of course, going over some general stuff. We'll be introducing you to some characters and reading, and then we'll be reading stuff from books that went on sale from DC, including the first of a 2-part Superman story that eventually leads to the introduction of Lex Luthor. Be introducing you guys to the Spectre, and we'll also be introducing you guys in full story to, I believe, King Standish, as well as be kind of giving a quick intro to both Professor Hugo Strange and Diane Belmont. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.